So we are here to present a solution, and mostly based to make sure that the key handling for LoRa deployment is properly handled. And so what we are coming from, I mean, Idemia is, for those who are not familiar with it, is a merge of Overture and Morpho, so two huge companies which are experienced in the smart card. And in the smart card industry, we are pretty much used to handling secret keys. So here we are proposing like a solution where the key handling is up to the key handling standards which are required for the security industry. So I will yeah.
One of the main problems we see in the LoRaWAN networks today is the step with the key sharing. So actually the LoRaWAN security is composed, as you know, of the session keys, one for securing the application from application data, this is encryption and confidentiality, one for the network S key for authentication of the messages over the air. But the LoRaWAN standards are not describing exactly how to proceed with the initial key sharing, so making sure that the keys that you have in your device are matching the one that are on the joint server, how to deal with the key injection, so how to securely import keys into the devices, and then finally with the key distribution, once we have derived the session keys on the joint server, how are they distributed with the network server and application server. So the solution here aims at really making sure that all of these steps are fully secure, so that we can ensure full security on the device side and on the data side.
Okay. So just as a summary for the LoRaWAN security, you have the authentication of the message, which is ensured with the MIC and the network S key. So it ensures that when you receive a message, it's effectively the device who sent it. And then the confidentiality of the message itself is ensured by the EPPS key. And the keys, these keys are generated during the join request, join accept process of the join request for the device. What LoRaWAN doesn't define, and I think that probably that would be a spec as thick as the rest of the other ones, is how you use the APP key injection and how to use the APP key sharing between the joint server and the device. And that's easily done with Excel files, but that's not a recognized procedure for handling secure keys. So here we are coming back from the smart card industry. There are like, in one slide, what you should do and shouldn't do with secret keys. So the secret keys, I mean, should never be exposed. So even stored safely on a PC somewhere in an Excel file is not, it's an exposed key for us. So the way to handle secret keys is effectively to use HSM. And one of the remarks from the LoRa Alliance that we got is that, what is an HSM? It's effectively a specific device inside your server which is made to handle secretly key values. So you have a hardware security module with a lot of security requirements, and in which you can have key value, and their usage is controlled by the whole security module. And so also another point which is very important and which is not addressed by the LoRaWAN standard, which is not surprising, is when you have a secret key. So it's like, with this little safe I try to show the problem. It's like if you have a safe with a key, real in the physical world, so you can give the key of the safe to somebody, and he has the key, and only he can open the safe. But when you're in a digital world, if you copy, I mean, if you give a key to somebody else, then two people know the key. And the problem there is a responsibility issue. It's like, if your key is compromised, whose fault is it? Who did something wrong? And it might be very difficult to find out. So that's why this is not done when you have when you're doing secret key handling. And I'll try to explain how we do it in such a way that effectively we don't share keys. And this is specifically true for the APP key. So if you have more questions at the end, I can be more precise on this, but this is the main function. So you need to have a secret key and you need to have somebody responsible for it. And obviously, it's better if only one person responsible for it, otherwise you never know who's doing something wrong. So what we propose, and that's a security solution coming from the smart card industry, is we have a process by which you probably all have in your pockets a couple of banking cards with a security chip inside, and you probably don't know the key which is in the card, and nobody knows it. So we use the same process that we use for personalized banking card, SIM cards, for this IoT security element, which means we have a secure process by which we inject the keys in the device at manufacturing, and during this process we generate a key, so they are injected in the device, and at the same time they are transferred to a server, which is a secure server in what we call a HSA, high security area. So this is like a bunch of server in a room with access control and very strict requirements for security, where we handle keys. But how you handle keys for SIM cards, for banking cards, and this kind of thing. So it's the same level of security. Next, I'm going to go into more detail, so it may be a little bit detailed, but that's how exactly we process this key in order to establish a secure transfer of the ownership of the device, because when the device is manufactured, we have Idemia credentials in it, and these Idemia credentials are under Idemia responsibilities, and we will not share them. So when you have a first join, you have like what we call a bootstrap join. So the very first join is done using an Idemia app UI, a Johnny UI. And so when a join server receives this app UI, or Johnny UI, well, that's what Actility is doing. They recognize the thing and say, well, this one we can handle. We have to go back to the Idemia server and trust to process this join. So the device is doing a normal join, but using Idemia credential. And what we do is we process, the join server receives a request from the device, forwards it to Entrust. Entrust sends back the answer to the join, and the device is connected basically also back to our server as an application server. So why do we do that? Because it allows us to send a reprovisioning packet using an administration channel for the device. So we use basically a specific port in the LoRaWAN protocol. And once the device receives this packet, which is encrypted using a specific algorithm because we need to have end-to-end authentication and encryption for administration. The APP key does not provide the end-to-end part. APPS key does not provide the end-to-end authentication, so we added a security protocol on top of the LoRaWAN process. So the device receives this packet containing a brand new WUI if you want to change it, a new join UI, and a new APP key. So this is the customer keys. And the way they are generated inside the server is we don't know the APP key. What has been done up front is that the join server has exchanged a master key with our server and trust. And this master key is used in the join server to derive the APP key for the device. So you have a first join, we'll send a reprovisioning packet. So the device will have new credential and will rejoin using this new credential. And so when the customer join server, which is TPA in case of the system we're proposing today, then the join server is able to process the join request using the standard LoRaWAN protocol, and using preferably an HSM, the master key has been exchanged with this HSM with the join server, and the join server is able to recalculate the APP key which is stored in the device and process the join completely. So for us, it's purely a provisioning operation. After that, the device has a set of credentials which have been securely delivered to the device, and it's it's a normal device which can be handled by the join server and the network server properly. So the solution we are proposing is just this key injection. Okay, so maybe I let Raphael explain how we do it with their server.
Connectivity side. So basically, we are doing something very similar to a bootstrapping process. So starting from your device, which has the secure identity provided by Idemia, bootstrapping this device on a bootstrap network, and then moving that onto the customer profile, where the final customer has actually chosen which network server, which join server they want to use for their market. But moving from this bootstrap identity, so dev UI, join UI, and a key, into this customer identity in a very secure way, where the key are actually never exposed on the field, but still being shared to the target join server. So the way we do this on the connectivity side is that your device is joining networks. It needs, with this bootstrap identity, to be accepted and joined on the bootstrap join server provided by Idemia. So this bootstrap join server is really the security encore for the initial bootstrapping. But on the connectivity side, obviously needs to be connected to a bootstrap network server. So for this, we also we can also use peering hubs, which allows to interconnect network servers and join servers, and then channel the initial join of the device onto the bootstrap join server, or any other peer-to-peer relationships will also work. But basically, what's very important is this identity manager entity, or mTrust, is able to receive the join request, process it, and then in turn apply this, send a repersonalization request over the air to apply the new identity on the device. So typically, on the identity manager, what you will do is log in, define what is your customer network you want to use. So you don't really need to care about the initial bootstrap credentials you have, but define the identity of the join server you want to use and the network server you want to use. And during this repersonalization process, the device will migrate into the customer JS. The customer JS obviously needs in turn to be accessible from the target home network on which the device is going to rejoin. And in turn, this is also facilitated with hub interconnection. So the benefit is really to have an end-to-end security handled right from the very beginning of the manufacturing process, not delegating that into later phases where you transport that keys up to the end customer, but really embedding this into your highly secure areas, HSMs, and also secure element on the device side. Yeah. So you have full security on device, on network, and over-the-air secure profile delivery. This solution is an application layer solution, so it works on top of any LoRaWAN Mac versions. This is actually deployed. This is actually deployed now. We have a demo upstairs, and it works on LoRaWAN 102, 103, 104, whichever. There's no specific dependency on the Mac layer. And it's also extensible because it's in the application layer, so we have any amount of messaging that we need to do in the future that could be also extended on this. Finally, the benefit is really the isolation of security domains. The Bootstrap.js has no common security domain with the target.js. All of this wiring is actually ensured via the mTrust or the identity manager entity, which is actually the root of the device identification and security.
Okay, so that means also for when you're manufacturing the devices, the way the secure elements are personalized is they are not customer specific. In order to have like one part number for everybody, so it will be distributed through partners. I mean, you're not going to have to come to Idemia for every single device. So you can just take a device, solder it in your board, and then you just read the UI in the device, put it on the barcode, for example, and you don't need to do any personalization because we have this Bootstrap profile. We are able to connect to the network using this profile, and then later on, more or less the end customer for the sensor will be able to onboard the device onto the final network. But for a device manufacturer, you just basically solder the thing onto the board. Yeah. So these are the different partners for this solution. So we have part activation, which is handling all the connectivity because Idemia has no experience in network operation, and so that's why we rely on Actility. And Idemia provides the security backend servers, and we call it mTrust as a commercial name. So you can see the demo at the booth, except for the LoRa connection in the room is a bit spot. There are too many devices, I think. Okay.
So basically, just to present the service, so this is really focusing on the capability of the service is secure manufacturing and generic manufacturing. More broadly, the SyncPark activation service enables this generic device onboarding with just the soldering of the secure element. And that's all you need to do in order to onboard the activation service. But also, this is providing the Bootstrap services necessary for migrating to a different JS if necessary. But this is also a JS that is available also for active for the active profile, for the final customer profile. So this is a JS that is already connected to a number of network servers commercially through the SyncPark Hub and peering hub, and so this is available already in production. So it can, and this service is really complementary to any existing joint servers that you already have on the market. Some devices might use the existing joint servers for joining a particular network, typically operator joint servers. And for other type of devices, such as the one equipped with the Idemia secure element, then they could use SyncPark activation in parallel on using the same network server. The goal here is really to enable one of the key pain points that prevents enabling of the massive onboarding on the LoRaWAN networks. Typically, a lot of devices are struggling with implementing a way for the join UI to clearly reference the join server, which is really mandatory for the roaming now. So thanks to a bootstrapping service, we can over the air reconfigure that and then finally land on the right join server and be available on all the networks using roaming. And of course, it supports all the security aspects we need for making sure that when we provide this service, we do this in a secure manner. For the mTrust services, so we provide
security services. Like you understand, we provide like the first join, support the first join, and then we migrate to your final server. So we're not involved during the life of the device. Now, we can also offer additional security services, and specifically one we are addressing is when you want to migrate a fleet of devices. So maybe a water or a meter which need to be transferred to another company, this kind of thing. So we can offer a service by which we can return the device back to the original Idemia profile. So by doing this, you end up like you can redo the initial onboarding of the device onto a different network without sharing any keys or transferring any keys between joint server, which might be competing and this kind of thing. We provide the solution to handle the HAPP key completely securely. It's never exposed, and if you do it properly on the joint server side, the key is effectively never exposed, and this is a key distribution mechanism that you can go to a security evaluation, like BSI in Germany or SSI in France, and propose this scenario, knowing you have a chance of the guy saying okay. Otherwise, it's going to say nope. we have applied all the security relevant standards for smart card, for key handling in the smart card industry, to the IoT market, and specifically it can be used for the LoRaWAN, and we have extensive support for LoRaWAN. It could be used in a more generic way on our network also, but we focus for now on the LoRaWAN. And what we want to provide as a company is really the security services which effectively allow you to deploy your devices using a secure mechanism. Okay, we can leave 5 minutes for comments and questions. Just one more point. Okay, we work with Actility because, like I said, we're not network operator on this kind of thing. And of course, the Entrust service can be accessed from other joint servers. So if you're in an area where Actility is not serving or this kind of thing, or you have your own specific joint server, you can effectively do the first onboarding contacting the Entrust server using a specific contract with Idemia. And also, if you only want to use the acceleration service, but you want to use a joint server which is not TPA or another joint server, you can use the reprovisioning service using the Actility network and then switch to a totally different network. And there is just one registering of your JS with our servers. Any questions?
Can you say anything about the costs per module?
I can't really say. I'm not allowed to speak about. This is a technical guy here in front of you, so I'm not allowed to talk about costs. But think about.
You can say maybe you can also visit the booth and
discuss this. The config. Do you think phone companies pay a lot for the same car? I wish they did. We have an infrastructure. If you ask people for 10 million, you have the price you want. I understand that probably not a lot of people can do it. That's why we have only one reference. There's no customer-specific thing. So we are hoping to collect on the different quantity to reach a quantity where we have a decent price. Comparing the fact that it eases also the onboarding on devices on any network, and you don't have to handle security anywhere in the production chain, we think there is already a value proposition right there.
Thank you.